right, let me introduce myself first. I'm John Philip Billones. I'm a business development officer for the Mindanao desk of First Metro Securities. So first and foremost, I think the first thing that we're going to discuss is how do we actually access the FirstMetroSec Pro platform. So first and foremost, how do you access the platform? So to access the platform, the website is pro.firstmetrosec.com.ph. So you just type in the address bar, that's pro.firstmetrosec.com.ph. So the good thing about First MetroSec is that we actually have three platforms. So you have the classic website that's accessible through firstmetrosec.com.ph. Second is the new platform. So that is new.firstmetrosec.com.ph. The good thing about this, even though we have three platforms available, you can access them using your same login details. All right, so you just input your username and password, then click here, sign in. So this is now your platform. You can usually see there the announcement. So the mga relevant na recent, then also this one is Tech SRO. So you can find the details there of the SRO and of course, how you can avail of this SRO. All right, so first and foremost, you can see here at the top right portion, so you'll be able to see here, when you click this icon, you can actually access your profile here, wherein in your profile, you can actually change your password in this part. So just key in your old password, then enter your new password. We encourage you to regularly change it. Of course, that's for security purposes. Then after that, you just click update password. Then also here, there's a good thing about alert settings. Okay, so you can actually receive morning session and closing prices via your registered email address. So if you'd like to receive morning session prices and closing prices, just click on both, then update alerts. Then you will be receiving that via email. You can also see here, I think one of the first good features about First MetroSec Pro is the hotkeys. Again, we're trying to find our edge in the market. And I think we understand, if we've been in the market for quite some time already, that time is really key when it comes to trading, especially if you're trading volatile stocks. It, it's important, no? It's good to have a quick tools for us to be able to execute our actions. So in this case, you can see here the different hotkeys that you can actually use and their respective functions. So for example, if you'd like to go to stock information in the normal market, so you can just simply press F4, all right? Then you will be redirected to the stock information. For example, you'd like to look at the top traded stocks. So top traded, that's Alt F12. All right. For example, you want to go to the market projected price. So that's Control J. Or if you want to key in your buy order entry, so the hotkey is forward slash. All right. So there you go. So those are your hotkeys. Again, these are really good edge. And you can also conveniently see here beside the hotkeys are your trade calculator. So if you want to know your respective charges, so you can just key in here. Again, for in using the First MetroSec platform, the commission rate is 0.25% or 20 pesos, whichever is higher. So in terms of decimal, that's going to be like that. So let's say you want to trade FMETF, you'd like to buy it at 100 pesos. Sorry, 100. Let's say we're going to buy 1,000 shares for 100 pesos. Then you can see there the breakdown, right? The breakdown of your but the gross and of course the charges involved. Okay, there you go. That's your trade calculator. Then after that, you can also see here that you can actually change the theme. Okay, so some aesthetics. So you can change from white theme to gray theme and to black theme. Okay, I think most traders prefer the black theme. But for purposes of discussion, para clear din yung mga what you're going to see as we walk through, let's use gray theme. All right. Then you can also toggle here some views when it comes to your platform. For example, if you want to see your portfolio glance, you can toggle this. So here you can see your day profit or loss, your unrealized profit or loss. Then you can also see here your stock and cash levels. Then next is you can also toggle the ticker. Okay, you can see here, this is powered by Stock. But of course, right now, you won't be able to see because, of course, the market is closed. So there's no ticker today because it's Saturday. Beside the ticker, you can also see the sidebar. All right, so the sidebar is just this one. We're going to discuss this after this. All right, so you can toggle any of those. Now, after discussing that, let's go to the main board. So again, this is the market tab. So you can see here also your sidebar. So the first tab is your index. So you would see here what happened to the market or the MSCI for the day. All right. Then you can also see here the level. So you can see here that it closed at this level, how much it has changed in terms of percentage points, and how much it has changed in percentage. Sorry, in terms of points and in terms of percentage. All right. Then you can also see here the value turnover. Here you can also see how many issues went up, how many issues went down, and how many were unchanged. And visually, we've also prepared here the pie chart of these representations. So you can see here 153, of course, that's most of it. Then 59, this green one, those are the number of issues went up. So at least you have a visual cue on what's happening on the underlying stocks of the market. Then when you scroll down, you can also see here the activity of your local and foreign. And I think this is really key. The classic platform does not have this. So you can visually see here which were more active. Were it the locals or the foreigners? In this case, the locals were more active. 56% of the trades were done by locals. And below, you can also see here the buy and sell for each local and foreign. So you can see which were net buyers and which were net sellers. So in this case, the locals were actually net buyers. That's 5.2 billion buy, then sell at 4.14 billion. Whereas the foreigners have a sell of 4.27 billion and 3.14 billion. So they are net sellers. You can also see below here the sub indices and what happens to the what happened to the counters. So as you can see, it's quite no, not that encouraging to look at because they're all red. All the counters were red, the sub indices. So you have here the financials, industrials, holdings, property, services, and mining. All were red. So yeah, you can see there an update. Now, when you click this one, you can also see here the top gainers, worst losers, and most actively traded stocks. But you can only see here the top 5. Later, as we go through the platform, you can see the more detailed top gainers, worst losers, and most actively traded stocks. After the index tab, you can also see here the watch list. Now, here's another thing that's cool about FirstMetroSec PRO because you can actually save up to 5 watch lists. Right? So, of course, if you're a trader, maybe you have multiple plays. Let's say you have bounce from support plays, or maybe uh, you have some plays, let's say dividend plays. You can also do that. Then you can load them into different types of watch lists depending on your personal preference. So you have 5 watch lists there. Now, for example, let's use watch list 3. For each of those watch lists, you can actually save up to 30 stocks each. All right. So for example, if you'd like to add a certain stock to that watch list, you can just simply click on edit, then enter the stock symbol. For example, let's add here FMETF. Then you just click this plus sign and FMETF will be included in that list. And you can do this for any other stocks. And of course, if you want to delete that stock from that list, then you can just click this minus sign here. And that will delete the stock. Then once you've done your edits, then you can click on done. And there you go. Again, you can have 5 watch lists. For example, you've saved into watch list the top picks of FirstMetroSec research, then yeah, like what I did here. All right. Now, the good thing about this watch list is that this is also integratable to other features of the platform, as you will see in the next part. So as we move on from the sidebar, we can go here at the multiple bid and ask. So the multiple bid and ask, you can see here many numbers, but I'm going to explain this in detail right now. So essentially, you can build 5, and again, another 5 sets of this multiple bid and ask. But again, I just want to highlight the integratability of the features of the watch list, as I mentioned a while ago. For example, we want to load watch list 3 here. So we can actually click this plus sign, then you can click on watchlist 3. And your watchlist 3 will be loaded there. Okay, now you have there Ali, BDO, BPI, FB, RLC, RRHI, SM, SMPH. Then for each of those stock, you can see their top 5. Okay, bid and ask prices and volume. But actually, if 5 is too much for you, you can change it to 3 levels if you'd like. So you can toggle between 3 or 5 levels, depending on your preference. And if you like to change the feel of it, you can even just do 2 columns or 3 columns, whichever suits you best. Here in multiple bid and ask, what you can see here beside is the bid and ask. So it's quite similar, but here it's what you can just see is the top bid and ask. Okay, for example, again, let's try to load watchlist 3. So watchlist 3 is loaded there. Then you can just see here the bid, ask prices, and volumes, and also the last price, and their percentage changes, so on and so forth. So only you can also only see the one level. All right. Then next, you can also see here the stock quotation. So for the stock quotation, you can see here the previous price, the open, high, low, and last price of that stock. Don't worry, later I'm going to share with you another feature of FirstMetroSec PRO that you can see this visually. All right. And yeah, but at least you can see here in one glance the stock quotation for your specific watch list. Then something new that we've included is the flows info. That's the next tab. So for the flows info, you can actually see here the foreign buy, sell, and net. You can also see here the local buy, sell, and net transactions. Okay, so in terms of flows, so at least, for example, if you're tracking the foreigns, if they're coming in or they're coming out, then you can see that flows here. Right. Beside flows info, you can also see here market pressure, and I think you'll really like this. It actually has 2 parts. So first is the price range for the day. So for the price range for the day, you can actually see here the high and low, prices for that stock for that day. And for example, on the left side, you can see there the lowest traded. For example, Ali. So we can see here it was traded lowest at 35.15, but it was also traded as high as 36.30. But you can see here another number, and that's actually your last traded price, all right? Or in this case, your current traded price. So you can see here visually where your current trading price is relative to its low and high price. And I think that's very useful, especially if you're a trader and you might be able to want to maximize what you can get from here. Of course, we want to buy as much as close to the lowest price possible, because of course that gives us more potential upside. All right. So, and during the day, this is actually real time. So you can see this move during the trading day. Not only that, the second part of the market pressure is also, you can see here the top 5 bid and ask volume. All right. So you can see here, of course, I think this is the market pressure, because you'll be able to see if there are more shares willing to be sold than willing to be bought. So for example, here you can see here that there are more shares willing to be sold than willing to be bought. Kabaliktaran naman for this stock, wherein more stocks, 206,000 shares are willing to be bought than 8,000 lang willing to be sold. Again, this is for the top 5 volume. All right, so that's your market pressure. All right, so I think this is a very cool tool of FirstMetroSec PRO, and it has very many uses. All right, so moving on, you can also see here at the right side your quick trade tab. The good thing about this quick trade is that you can actually enter your order details as fast as you can. No? So the good thing about this quick trade function also is that this is actually visible no matter where you're going to navigate through the platform. All right, so but for that, we're going to discuss that when we reach the trade tab. But for now, just know that this is present and visible wherever you'd like to navigate the platform. All right, so you can also see here your portfolio. So you'll have plans. Of course, this is a demo account, so you will not be able to see any holdings for this. All right, so we're done with the first tab, that is the market tab. Now let's try to move on to the next tab. So the next tab is the stock. So when you click stock, you can see here stock info. So for the stock info, you can just simply click the enter here the code. For example, let's look into FMETF. So for First Metro Philippine Equity Exchange Traded Fund, you can see here either the top 5 or the top 10 bid and ask volume and prices. And the good thing here is something that's differentiating it from Classic is that you can also see here the number of bids for each of those price levels and also the number of ask for each of those price levels. Then actually the top 5 and top 10, you can see this in other platforms. But one thing that you'd really like about FirstMetroSec Pro is that you can also actually see the full depth of the prices. So what this means is that you can see the floor to ceiling prices of that stock. So essentially, you can see here potential support and resistance levels for that stock, depending on the volume. Right. So at least that gives you further insight on how you can post your order for you to find an edge in the market. But we don't stop there. Not only do we provide you with the full depth view, but we actually even show you the order book. For example, I want you to focus here. There is a ask price of 104.5. Total volume is 5,940 shares. But we can see here that there are 3 orders for this price level. Now, the good thing about the order book is that when you click this, those orders will be expanded. So remember, I told you that there were 3 orders for that price level. So that's here, 104.5, 104.5, 3 orders, the breakdown of each of those orders, and the time that they were posted. So you can really see here the breakdown of each of those price levels. So this can really give you an edge when it comes to trading the market. Now, when we scroll down here, you can actually see here some disclosures and company news regarding that stock. So this is the normal tab, but you can also go to the odd lot tab. So we know that in the odd lot tab, these are your butal shares. So if you have less than board lot na shares, you trade that using the odd lot market. After exploring stock info, you can also see here some data on the right side. So we can scan through that and even see here the 52-week low and 52-week high. So some traders really use this. So essentially what this tells you is that what is the lowest price in the last 52 weeks, or that's last year, for the last year, and what is the highest price for the last 52 weeks, and where is it trading relative to those two numbers right now. And again, you can see here the market pressure for the top 5 volumes. So quite similar to the market pressure we've seen in the previous tab, but here it's for that specific stock only. All right, so that's your stock info. You can even hear the time and sales for that stock. So if you're looking into this, so you can see there, you can even see what broker was used to buy or to sell that stock. And you can even see here if the buyer or seller was local or foreign. Next tab, you can also see here volume review. So in volume review, you can see what price levels the stock was traded. So you can see here a breakdown, and you can see the respective volumes that were traded for each of those price level. And here also you can see a graphical representation of that. So you can actually see here what price level it was traded the most. And for traders, that's actually very critical to know because it's good to know where the stock traded the most, because likely the price returns to that value. Okay, so that's why you can also see here the VWAP, or this is what we call the volume weighted average price for that certain stock. So again, this takes into consideration the price and also the volume that was traded at those price levels. So this is the weighted average price. And for traders, it's critical to know the VWAP because it gives you an edge if you're able to buy below the volume weighted average price. Of course, now that gives you an edge, as if ever it revert back to the VWAP, then that gives you more upside than if you were able to buy it higher than your volume weighted average price. So yeah, this is a really good tab, the volume review. Then next tab, you can also see here the buyers and sellers. So you can see here the brokers that were used to buy and sell. All right, so that's your stock info. Again, we're going to go back here in a few after we discuss the trade tab, because there's actually one feature here that you can use using the quick trade tab. You're like too willing to buy this stock at this price level, so you can just click the volume or the bid volume to toggle between a buy and sell order. Now, maybe just for appreciation, I'll just show you this one. For example, let's delete this components. All right, so as you can see, the tab is blank. But for example, you'd like to trade, no? Meron ka, you quickly generated a trade idea. Let's say you'd like to buy this stock at this price. So you can just click on the ask volume, and I want you to observe what happens on the quick trade tab. Okay, now I'm going to click the ask volume. Then you can see the quick trade tab toggle to the buy side. Okay, so that's a very cool feature, and the details are also indicated. Like you'd like to buy FMETF at 104 pesos, which is that's the price level of this volume. So all you need to do is just to indicate the volume. So how many number of shares are you willing to buy at that price? So thus the term quick trade. So you can just click on the volume, ask or bid volume. So kabaliktaran naman for the bid volume. Kasi if you're going to click the bid volume, the quick trade tab would toggle to sell, because of course these are buyer side. So if you'd like to sell, then you click on the buyer side, then it automatically shifts to sell. Then all you need to do is just enter how many shares you'd like to sell. To further give you an edge, we even have a feature wherein you can turn off your confirmation password. Because, for example, if you're going to enter your order, you actually need to enter your password to confirm the order details. But for example, in the specific session that you'd like to turn that off so you can quickly trade, then you can just toggle this off. Then your password will not be asked whenever you enter your order. But for security purposes, of course, this reverts back to on when you log out from that session. Okay, so that's your stock tab. Next, let's move on to the broker tab. So for the broker tab, you can see here the broker rankings first. So which broker traded the most for that day. So you can even actually toggle this for all transactions or without crosses. There you go. Then you can also click here the broker activity. So for example, if you're following a certain broker, if that's part of your analysis and trading plan, you can see here a breakdown of the broker activity, what stock was bought or sold for that day, and their respective na mga details here on the right side. All right. You also see here the time and sales here. All right. Then yeah, you can even filter this if you'd like to see crosses only, net transactions, or filtered. No, there's specific filters that you can set up. All right, so that's your broker tab. Next tab, let's go into explore the index tab. The index tab, this lets you know what happened to the index and the sub indices. So we've seen in the sidebar the PSEI and the specific percentage changes for each of the sub indices. But here you can see the graph for each of those. All right. So for example, for property, this is what happened to the property index for that day. The services sector, you can see that here. You can also see here the percentage change for each of those sub indices. Yeah, so easy to see. Then you can also see here the movers, gainers, losers, and most active stocks. Right now, if you want further details, you can click index movers. For the index movers, you can see here which stock were actually, I think this is limited only to top 30 or the blue chip stocks. So which of the blue chip stocks change in terms of percentage points, move the most. So those are your index movers. All right. Now let's move on to the next tab. After the index tab, we can see here stats. And I think this is one of the meaty parts of the FirstMetroSec PRO platform. First and foremost, I told you a while ago that you can actually get more details about the top gainers versus losers, most active, and top traded stocks. And you can see that here. So for example, you can see here the top gainers, but not limited to the top 30 stocks only. But you can actually see here all shares. Okay, then you can even build watch list if you'd like. So you can integrate again your save watch list here, or you can build on your own. So when it comes to top gainers, which issues went up the most? So the percentage change. Then worst losers, which stocks declined the most for that day. So this is the percentage change. Then you can also see here most actively traded stock. So for the most actively traded stock, you usually look at the value. Okay, so you can see here SMPH coming at the top as most actively traded stock. Then top traded, what you're looking at here is the number of trades. So you can see here BDO with 5,339 trades for that stock. Okay, so you can get some insights using these tabs. Next is your analytics, and I think again the meat of the meat. Okay, so in the analytics, we've actually filtered some numbers that you might find useful. For example, for the price action, you can see here the percentage change. Okay, be it in the last 12 months, 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, or last month. Okay, so you can toggle that there. And the good thing here is that you can actually click on these columns so you can filter or sort them. So for example, if you would like to see, let's try to change this no, from the topics of FirstMetroSec research, let's go to the whole PSEI. Okay, so just go here, then change it to PSEI. Then let's say we'd like to see which stock gained the most in the last 12 months. So you can just click this column, 12 months percentage change, and you can see there. So you see there EMP, that's 57.5%. All right. So not only in terms of percentage change, but you can also look at the period to date percentage changes. So for example, year to date. Okay. So you'd like to see which stock rose the most year to date sa PSEI. So again, just click on year to date percentage change. Then this will sort on its own. So you see there ICT at 29.55% year to date. So you can also see here quarter to date, month to date, and week to date. So of course, there's another tab here about 52-week high and low. Again, if you're the type of trader who looks into this, this is very useful for you because you can see here the specific 52-week high and 52-week low prices for the stock. Again, not only for the PSCI, but you can load your watch list here so you can analyze your respective stocks. The good thing about here is that you can also see here the percentage away from the 52-week high and percentage away from the 52-week low. So, for example, we would like to know which stock is uh, close to the lowest. No? So let's try to toggle 52-week low. Ayan, so yeah, so for example, MER. So over the last 52 weeks, from its lowest price of 254, it's trading at 275. So it's only up by 8.35% from that low. So in this case, siya yung pinakamalapit sa 52-week low. Okay? So for example, 52-week high naman. Alright? For example, there, MEG. So its 52-week high is 4.30 and it traded at 3.15. So it's around 26.74% away from its 52-week high. All right? So another one here is year-to-date high and low. So ito naman hindi siya last 52 weeks na high and low prices. Ito naman is year-to-date. So from the start of the year up until today, what are the high and low prices for that stock? And of course, how far it is away from each of those. Okay, so that's for the price. Next tab, let's move to volume. So for volume naman, you can see here the total value and total volume for the last 1 month and 3 months of that stock. And you can hear the growth. All right, so again, you can find some insights just by this. Okay, so there you go. After the volume, you can also see here shares. Okay, so for the shares, you can see here the market cap. So for example, you'd like to filter which stocks has the market cap, you can see that here. So again, you can just toggle this. And yeah, we see there SM and SMPH coming up at top with the biggest market capitalization. Okay, you can also see here the number of shares outstanding. So if you have calculations, you can source that here. After market cap, you can also see here the insider trades. Okay, so again, when you talk about insider trades, these were the trades done by the executives. Okay, so you can see there what happened. Did they buy more of their stock or did they sell their holdings? And you can see that here. So by the way, don't get this wrong, no, because again, these trades by insiders are actually disclosed naman to the market. Okay, so at least you can just hear the trends of what's happening to what the insiders or the executives are doing with their shares over the last 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, or 1 month. Not only insider trades, but you can also see here the share buybacks. So if that's important to you, so we can see the trend here again for the last 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, and 1 month when it comes to share buybacks of that company. Okay, so after that shares tab, let's go on to the next. We see here the technical. So you can see here moving averages and relative strength index. But again, this is in numerical form. I think this is best. These technical indicators are best viewed using the charting tool because again, these are just numbers. Siguro, if you want to have a quick look, this can be handy. But I think technical indicators best pa din if you see on charts. Later, we're going to explore the charting tool. So you see there the moving averages over 20 period, 150, 20, and 10. Those are your common moving averages. I also see here the RSI level, so 14 and 7 period, but I guess the vanilla is the 14 period RSI. So you can see the levels here. But again, these are in numbers, but depends on what type of person are you. Baka this is more useful for you. The important thing is it's here in FirstMetroSec Pro. All right. After technical, here fundamental. I think this is also a very meaty part of the analytics tab because of course we've filtered here first dividend yield. For example, you want to look at the PSEI. Okay, so you just load your PSEI there. Then your PSEI stocks will be loaded. Then after that, you can see here the last traded price for that stock, the dividends per share that were paid out in the last 12 months. That's trailing 12 months dividend per share. And if you use that, if the company would pay the same amount of dividends in the next 12 months and you bought at this price, this is your dividend yield. Now, again, the good thing about FirstMetroSec Pro is that you can actually toggle these columns. So, of course, now we're trying to find yield. So, you just need to click on the dividend yield, then it will sort the dividends. All right, so you cannot do this in Classic, no? It's quite hard to do it in Classic. So here you can do it easily. So you can see here, highest yield is MBT. So at 8.43%. Okay, so again, that's your dividend yield. Many people also focus on price to earnings to look at momentum in stocks. So that's their PE ratio. So you can see here the 12-month trailing EPS and the last traded price. That's how you can calculate your price to earnings ratio. So for example, siguro you'd like to sort this. Okay? What stock na ba has low price to earnings ratio? Or siguro, sino na ba yung may momentum? Right? So you can see there. So ito na yung mga stocks that were have price to earnings ratio as follows. So of course, no, per industry, meron yan siyang mga peer average or volume, then you can use that as reference. Okay, yung peer tables. Okay, but here you can see the price to earnings ratio. Also, price to book ratio, you can see that here. So again, when you talk about price to book ratio, this is comparing your market price and your book value per share. So you can see that last price and book value per share. So then you get your price to book ratio here. So again, we'll be discussing this in best part one. But just to give you a briefer, when it comes to price to book ratio, we'd like to look into stocks that are trading or below 1 na book value. Okay, so at least you can filter here that these stocks are trading below. These stocks are trading below book value or trading below 1 price to book ratio. Okay, but again, you don't limit yourselves there because when you learn about price to book ratio, some stocks really don't trade above 1 na price to book ratio. So you have many considerations when it comes to that. But this was a very fun part to look at during the pandemic. Kasi there was really times na they were trading below book value, and those were actually good times to actually accumulate quality but battered stocks because of the pandemic. Okay, then also next tab you have here price to sales. So for the price to sales, you can see that here. So if this is important to your analysis, then you can easily sort the price to sales ratio here. So there you go. So that's the fundamental tab. And another cool part of the FirstMetroSec Pro platform is the consensus inside the analytics. Now, when you click consensus, for example, let's limit this so konti lang. Let's go to watchlist 3 again. All right. So for example, you're looking at this selected stocks that you inputted in the watch list. So the good thing about the consensus corner is that it lists down the stocks of your choice. Then it also sees here the last price for those stocks. Then you can see here the consensus rating in average target price. Again, when it comes to target prices, for example, a certain broker or analyst releases a report on that stock, they usually have a target price, or we can say that's the fair, what they think is the fair value of their stock depending on their assumptions. But again, when it comes to those assumptions, for example, if you have conservative estimates, then you also have a low target price. But if you have optimistic estimates, then you have a higher target price. The good thing about consensus is that it finds actually the average or the consensus. And you can see that here. Parang this is finding your best estimate. Because again, it can be a conservative or a optimistic estimate. Maybe a good one common sense thing to do would be to find the average estimate. All right, and you can see that here. That's the average target price. Now, from this average target price, you can actually see here, relative to the last price, its potential profit or loss. For example, Ali, the average target price is 43.88, but it's only trading at 36. So, if you're going to buy at 36, and if ever it reaches 43.88, you can see here you have 21.89% potential profit. And you can see here also the consensus rating. So, for example, they issue a target price. Usually, they look at the last traded price relative to their target price. Then, if they have a certain percentage that they could either issue a buy, hold, sell, or call, you can see that as your consensus rating. So, as you can see here, for example, Ali, that's a 4.56. So, it's more of in the buy side. All right. For example, here, RLC. So RLC, 5 yung consensus rating. So that means the analysts, most of them say buy. Okay? So you also have here around, the average target price is 23.19, but RLC is trading at 17.5. So this gives you 32.51% upside. All right? So again, not only your watch list, for example, gusto you'd like to view PSEI. So you can do that. Then you can again toggle this consensus rating. There you go. So of course, if the rating is 5, then that tells you that most, if all, maybe said buy for that stock. Then target prices in their respective potential profit or loss. All right. So that's your analytics tab. And I think, yeah, that's a very meaty part. No? In the classic platform, you cannot do that there. Yeah, so you can only do that here in FirstMetroSec Pro. Okay, so yeah, very meaty discussion on stats. But again, if you'd like to learn more about this, that's the reason why we conduct many free webinars for you. So again, our intermediate level, yung basic education on stock trading, that will be next week. So please attend so you can know more how you can calculate each of this. Because of course, I don't have the time to discuss each of the topics here this afternoon. Mahubusan tayo ng oras. Okay? Ayan. So after that, let's go to, after the stats tab, you can actually next go to the trade tab. All right, so for the trade tab, this is actually where you enter your order. So for example, you'd like to enter your new order. So you can toggle between buy or sell. Okay, buy or sell. Then you enter the stock code there. So for example, you'd like to enter FMETF. Then there, you can also see here the top 10. You can see also the stock info here. Then you can enter here the volume, the number of shares. Now, the good thing here is that you can see here that the board lot, you don't have to manually enter it. You can just click here. So you can observe that the board lot here is 10. So let's say you'd like to buy 100 shares at, let's say cheapest is 104.104. Okay, so that's your price, 104. Then you can enter here your expiry. So when you talk about expiry, this is how long your order will be posted up until it will be done. So you can post for a day. So you can also post for 7 calendar days. That's good till week. Or you can post it for 30 calendar days. That's good till month. Okay, so the difference is, for example, if you're going to put day, so what this tells this is the exchange is you want to buy FMETF at 104 pesos per share, 100 shares, then your order would be valid for the day. So for example, you posted at 10 a.m., your order would be in the exchange up until it will be matched. Pero if for example, lumagpas na siya ng closing time, then may expire na yung order mo. So if you have remaining shares, then you'll have to enter another order the next day. But for example, malayo yung presyo na gusto nyong pagbili or pagbenta, or medyo malaki yung volume ninyo that you might need more time to accumulate those shares, then you can change it to good till week or good till month. So again, 7 calendar days, 30 calendar days. And you can also choose here the normal or odd lot. So right now, walang odd lot because close ang market. Then there, you can also input here the type. So it could be a limit or stop limit order. Okay, so yeah, normal na alam natin is the limit order. So automatically, it is sent to the exchange. But for the stop limit order, it needs to trigger a certain condition first. And I'm going to discuss that next. I'm going to shift to my presentation. But before I do that, discuss ko lang yung mga remaining parts here. For example, here you can see the value of the trade. So you can see here, not just hover your mouse there. Then you can see there the gross, commission, VAT, and all of the charges and the net amount. So net amount for this is 10,423.96. Okay, then of course, if after reviewing this, you can click on buy. But of course, this is a demo account. We cannot do that. Of course, if you want to buy a certain stock, you look at the ask side because the ask side is where the sellers are. So you want to buy from someone who are willing to sell their stock. And those willing sellers are in the ask side. So if sell naman yung order ninyo, then you look at the buyers. Of course, you want to sell to those willing to buy, and the buyers can be located in the bid side. So right now, I'm going to discuss about conditional orders. Again, when you talk about conditional orders, this is not like your limit orders that your orders will be automatically sent to the exchange to be queued. This allows you to set conditions that must be satisfied before a buy or sell order is activated for execution. So you're going to wait for a certain price level. And when you enter conditional orders, you have three conditions. First is the trigger price. This is the price that must be reached by the stock before the order is submitted to the exchange for execution. Okay? So after the trigger price, you also have what we call the limit price. So for example, your trigger price has been reached, limit order will be sent to the exchange for execution. Okay, ito yung usual na ginagamit natin. So also you need to input also your expiry. So we've discussed this also a while ago, but this expiry is only applicable to the trigger price. So essentially, this lets you know the length of time you're willing to wait for the stock to hit your trigger price. So again, you need to have a trigger price. You'll need to also have a limit price and expiry for that trigger to be met. So first, one of the uses of the conditional orders or the stop limit order is to limit your losses. I think when it comes to trading, this is really key. Dapat, if we are active traders, we must be comfortable in cutting our losses. And the good thing about FirstMetroSec PRO is it gives you that facility to actually limit your losses. For example, you saw this stock, no? It's already from a downtrend, it's already trading or consolidating. Once it hit this support, then it bounced. You anticipate that stock to go higher. For example, you bought at this near the support level. In this case, I believe this is 100. So let's say you bought near support or the bounce from the support level. Of course, you bought that stock because in anticipation that it's going to go higher. Of course, when it comes to trading, you don't only look at the positive side, you also look at the potential downside, and we limit our losses to the downside. So one of the downside of this price action is that it may break down from this support level, the 100 pesos. So how do we protect ourselves from further losses? You can actually post a conditional order or a stop limit order. So in this case, we want to sell, not to limit our losses. So we're going to enter a sell stop limit order. So dun sa trade tab, you toggle to sell, then choose limit as the order type. Then for example, your trigger price will be 90 pesos. So your condition is that if it reaches at 90 pesos, you will be willing to sell up until 80 pesos. Okay, so that's the situation. Because of course, if it breaks down from this support level, then your initial hypothesis that it would bounce from the support and go higher would be negated already. So again, in technical analysis, we call this change in sentiment. So there used to be buyers here. You bought that stock in anticipation that it would go higher, but you do not discount the possibility there will be a breakdown or there will be a change in sentiment. So from merong buyers, tapos nag-weaken yung buyers, pushing the prices lower. So how do you limit your losses? Then you can actually set your trigger price at 90 pesos. So when it hits 90 pesos, your conditional order will be triggered. That's the purpose of the trigger price. And once that is hit, it will send out a limit order. And you see set here limit price of 80 pesos. That tells us that you're willing to sell up until 80 pesos or better. Okay, so in the trade tab, this is how you input it. So let's say you want to sell ABC stock, 100 shares, all right, at 100 shares. You want to sell ABC stock if it breaks below the support. So you enter your stop limit order. The type is stop limit. Then your trigger price is 90 pesos because you would like to have the price reach that level first before you would be willing to sell. When it is triggered, limit order would be 100 shares at 80 pesos. So you can also see here the trigger expiry of 1 month. Then after that, you can click on sell and or your order will be sent. Okay, so that is how you limit your losses. All right, so next, not only are you able to limit your losses, you can also ride the momentum. In this case, you saw this stock trading within this range. And for example, if you'd like to ride the momentum, so you're waiting for a breakout from this resistance. So you see this resistance level here. So a breakout there would be indicative of a change in sentiment. If you'd like to buy that breakout, you want to wait for the price to reach 130 pesos first before you enter your order, and you're willing to buy it up until 148 pesos. For you to enter that order, these are the three numbers you're going to indicate. You want to buy the breakout, so your order type would be buy stop limit order. So the trigger price of this order is 130 pesos because again, you will still wait for the price to reach 130 before you would like to send out your order. And you will be waiting for 1 month. So that's you enter your expiry of GTM. If ever that gets triggered, you will be sending a limit order of buy up until 148 pesos or better. The expiry for the limit order is till the day only. In the trade tab of your FirstMetroSec Pro account, so again, if you'd like to buy the breakout of stock XYZ, so you enter stop limit order. Your trigger price is 130 pesos. So again, you're waiting for the stock to reach that price before you send your limit order, which has a limit price of 148 pesos for 100 shares. You're going to wait for that trigger for a month. You can see here the trigger expiry if you chose GTM. Then after that, you just click here buy. Then your order will now be sent as a conditional order. Okay, so hopefully you understood the conditional order part. So again, just to summarize now, when it comes to conditional order, you're waiting for that stock to reach a certain price level first before you send your limit order. Okay, and the price level you're waiting will be the what you call your trigger price of your conditional order. So the condition is it needs to reach the trigger price first before it would send out a limit order to the exchange. When you limit your losses, you're actually protecting your capital already for further downside. And you're even able to capitalize on change in momentums or change in sentiments. You can use this hand in hand in various trading techniques. But these are the very basic. Meron pa mga iba, for example, buying on pullbacks or selling on strength, which are just versions of your stop limit order. But these two are the most basic ones. And even with this, this can really help your portfolio talaga when used properly. Again, that's your trade tab. So, but before we move to the portfolio, you can view your orders. After you sent your order, you can view your orders here. So if you have certain orders that they're queuing, you can see the respective status here, right? For your conditional orders, you can see them separately here. So you can actually see here status instruction if it's actually pending or triggered na. So again, your conditional order has an expiry. That's what you set during your trade. But when your conditional order is already triggered, the limit order that was sent to the exchange, it only has a day expiry. So if hindi siya na done during the day, you'll have to enter another order the next day. If you'd like to view history, you can also click this here. You can see here your orders and your ledger. So after the trade tab, we can then view our portfolio. So you can just simply click portfolio tab here. So you can see here a breakdown of your stocks, funds, or bonds. Okay, so for example, for your stock portfolio, you can see there your the average cost. Then you can see here the market value of your position. You can also see here your total cost and your unrealized profit or loss. Now, this unrealized profit or loss in terms of percentage are already net of the charges. So for example, if you recently bought, then first talaga yung makikita dyan is the negative because that's already inclusive of your charges. And you can also see here for your mutual funds. Again, I think this is the very nice thing about FirstMetroSec. No? Kasi hindi lang kayo able to trade stocks. You can even diversify to mutual funds. So for example, if you're maintaining a portfolio, you can use mutual funds as your diversification. Tapos, we also have a no seats load feature pa. So, makakatipid talaga kayo. Yun nga lang, you're going to do it on your own. And of course, bonds. So, yeah, sometimes we participate in retail treasury bond offerings. So, you can see that here also. So, yeah, so here's a FirstMetroSec. We really want to achieve yung tipong all investment needs you can see in your account. All right. So now, for now, you can diversify through stocks, mutual funds, or bonds. All right. Then next, you can actually toggle this. This is your you can see, no? For example, if you're maintaining a certain asset allocation strategy, then you can toggle this. So you can see how much is allocated in your stocks, how much allocated in your funds, how much is allocated in your bonds. So that's your portfolio tab. Then after that, another thing. No? So far we discussed the the raw data. But if you want a filtered and already distilled na analysis, you can find trade ideas using your research tab. So from the research tab, you can actually see here the company. So for example, you'd like to look into a certain company, let's say SM. So you just enter the stock code there, press enter, and you can see what's happening to SM. So for example, SM Investments Corp, its last traded price is at 1,000 pesos. Then you can see here a summary of that stock. So the market cap, shares outstanding, so on and so forth, market capitalization. You can even see here valuation, no? Mga quick relative valuation such as price to earnings ratio, dividend yield, price to book ratio. You can see that here. Then you can even scroll down here. You can see the FirstMetroSec reports for that stock. So parang shortcut siya. All right. You can also see here valuation. Okay. So I think this is also new sa FirstMetroSec Pro. Kasi noon, this was only accessible through the classic platform. But right now, Pro, you can see valuation niya for the past 5 years. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you say valuation, you can see there yung mga price to earnings ratio niya, yung dividend info, also shares info. Not only valuation, you can also see their financials. So when you say financials, yung FS ng company. So you can see there the balance sheet. So you can see their income statement, and other financial information, for example, enterprise value, so on and so forth. So for each of the stock, you can access that here. So parang data din siya. Then, for example, if important sa inyo yung dividend history, then you can click dividend history. Then you can see there the respective dividends that were paid out historically. So you just scroll down there. And for example, no, kung regular dividend payer naman yung company, you can see no, yung schedule niya when it usually releases its dividends or yung declared dividends na. So disclosures, you can see that here also. So for that stock, all right? Now, again, on the right side, you can see here consensus. So consensus target, you can see here graphically or visually, the lowest estimate for SM is 827. The highest estimate for SM is 1 to 50. So your average there is 1,027.40. So for now, it's currently around the average consensus target price. And when you look at the consensus rating, you can see here that more near to the hold call. Okay, the 3.3. You can also see here the profile of the company. So see here small, brief description of the company, who are its executives and board members, and even their contact info. You can see here and even access their website. Also see stats for each of the company. So when it comes to volume activity, where you can see here the latest reports. For example, when you'd like to know the stock mix FirstMetroSec research. So again, si FirstMetroSec research, meron siyang universe of stocks that they cover. Not all stocks because maraming limitations such as the company is, so on and so forth, liquidity concerns, ganyan. So yung universe ni FirstMetroSec, meron silang, for example, this year, they have sector and picks nila. So to yung mga picks ng FirstMetroSec research, you can click on company reports. You can also see that here, but I'm going to highlight that first. So company reports, yan. So when you click company reports, you can see there, yan. Ito yung mga, yung merong mga call, either buy, hold, or sell, yan yung coverage ni FirstMetroSec. So out of the PI, it's coverage sila. First, let's at SM. Okay, so SM Investment Corp, they had a fundamental report that's released January 19, 2021, with a target price of 1,250, and they have a buy call. So all you need to do is just click that date. So again, you can see here the research report on that company. So they have a buy call on that stock. Price target is 1,250. And of course, you don't just look at that. You also look at the logic of it. So they also tell you what's new for that stock, what's their outlook for that stock, and their recommendation. So you can see their recommendation. So you can simply read this. You can even see the rating system here on when they can issue, buy, hold, or fully valid calls for specific stocks. And you can view. I think this 2021, our FirstMetroSec research team has 8 top picks. And yan, feel free to explore them here. So again, yan yung stock picks. And usually nito, long-term yung perspective nila. So that's the perspective for fundamental reports. We also actually have yung mga regularly published reports. So for example, first trading day of the week, we publish what we call the weekly report. Okay, so we call this the market blueprint report. So you see here the market blueprint research report. So again, we publish this every first trading day of the week. So you'll see there what happened to the performance of the PSEI. And you can also see here market highlights. So essentially, this tells you what happened to the market last week. You can see here market highlights. Then you can also see here a summary of the what happened to the top gainers and losers for the week. Then of course the outlook for the stock market the following week. Okay, so you can see that here. Not only that, they also tell you what are the key data releases for that week that you need to watch out for. And meron ding picks for the week, usually tatlo. So it could either be a buy, buy or sell call for that stock. So for example, latest is they released call on Aboitiz Power Corp, Maxes, and JFC. Okay, so you can just read through their rationalization there. All right, so again, first trading day of the week, market blueprint research report. Another that we regularly publish is the daily report. So ito naman, of course, during the other trading days of the week, we publish also the daily report. So usually before the market opens, available na siya sa platform. So for the daily report, again, it tells you what happened to the market yesterday, what we expect to happen sa market today, and you can also see here stock calls for the day. Okay, this is something new sa daily report. Then when you scroll down, there are also other data here and even news flows, which are actually filtered for you already. So you just simply click on this and it will take you to that article, online article. These are the news that we think are relevant to the market. Then you can also see here some commentaries on some local news and even commentaries on some corporate news. Then as you scroll further, you can see here corporate calendar. So for example, it's important analysis for you to know when are the stockholders meeting, when the dividends will be released. Then you can use this corporate calendar. And you can also plan your day with this economic calendar. So what are you watching out for today or the following days? For example, next week. So we're waiting for the U.S. inflation, trade balance of China, OFW remittances, and GDP of China, U.S. retail sales, and interest rate decision of Japan Central Bank. So yan yung what you'll be watching out for the following week. Okay, so that's your daily report. Again, we publish this every day except the first trading day of the week kasi market blueprint report yon. So another report that we regularly publish, ito naman, midweek naman siya. Okay, so for the midweek, we release the stock screen research report. So just click this stock screen. Latest was July 7th. So this research report, the main purpose of this is made for those investors who have specific fundamental metrics when it comes to their investing decisions. So in this stock screen report, we have 4 model portfolios with different characteristics. For example, the first stock screen is riding the momentum. So these are well-established companies with sustained profitability and high earnings expectations. So that's the layman's term for the filter, but actually it's very quantified, no? Quantified yung how they pick stocks within this stock screen report. So you can see here that they chose stocks that are of high EPS growth, so that's high growth, and also high price to earnings ratio. And they usually put here 5 stocks per week, depending on these two. So this should be the top high growth and top high price to earnings ratio. So that's riding the momentum. Some investors also prefer to have the value play in their portfolio. So these are stocks that are undervalued by the market, but able to provide high return to shareholders. Again, metrics are low price to book and high return on equity. So again, 5 stocks for that. Green. For example, if you're the type of investors who are looking for yields in the market, so you have here the yield seeker report. So aside from stock price appreciation, these stocks can generate above average dividend yields. So the metrics are your high dividend yield and high dividend coverage ratio. And in my experience, I think this is the stock scheme that doesn't change as much. Okay, so yeah, relatively pare-parehas lang siya. Some are taken out, some are new, but relatively pare-parehas lang na stock nandito. So yeah, for dividend yield seekers. For example naman, if you'd like to own unloved stocks, so stocks that generate high earnings but underrated by the market, quantified by high earnings growth but low price to earnings ratio. So essentially, kabaliktaran siya nung riding the momentum. Okay, so again, 5 stocks for that. So of course, again, we don't have the time to discuss each of this as much as I'd like. But again, I encourage you to attend our basic education on stock trading next week because doon talaga hinimay itong mga metrics na to. Kasi, for example, for the dividend yield, the yield seeker report and the value play, the way these numbers are computed are explained in best part 1. That will be on Tuesday. Yung value play, yung riding the momentum naman and the unloved stocks, this will be explained in best part 2, wherein doon naman you're going to talk about how you can use the PE ratio and the how you can use the PE ratio and earnings per share to pick stocks. Ayan. So that's your stock screen research report. Again, published every Wednesday, midweek. Right. So next, another report that we published is the Consensus Corner Research Report. Ito naman siya, we publish this every last trading day of the week. Okay, so but I think mas madali na ito sa inyo if you're a pro user. You don't have you can still use this, but I think you can use also yung consensus na mga tabs dun sa FirstMetroSec PRO. But essentially, the Consensus Corner Research Report just tells you what are the consensus target price of the some certain stocks, be it PSEI stocks or non-PSEI stocks. Then it relates that to the last traded price. Then you can see here the potential profit and loss for that relative to the consensus. You can also see here the dividend yield and the consensus rating. So again, if you're a pro user, you can easily access this in the different tabs that we've discussed a while ago. All right, so again, Consensus Corner every last trading day of the week, usually Friday. All right, so those are the regular reports that we published. But another report that we published that we're really proud of is the Traders Playbook report. So most of the reports that I've discussed with you are mostly on the longer term perspective. But if you'd like to be a little bit more active in your trading, you can actually check out our Traders Playbook research report. So let's look at the latest Traders Playbook research report. Okay, so let's try to, how about this? Ayan. For example, let's try to use this Traders Playbook report as an example. So this is a Traders Playbook report on Globe Telecom. Okay, so again, the mindset of the Traders Playbook report, how it is made is that the mindset is of an active trader. So the skeleton of the Traders Playbook report is that first, it tells you what happened to that stock. Okay, so usually news-driven siya. All right. Then the analyst will share his view of the stock. So either technical perspective or fundamental perspective. So I think this is a really good example because the view first here is through technical perspective. So as you can see here, there was a technical event that happened here and also fundamental guidance. So you can see here fundamental analysis. So it bridges the two, which I think are two key studies when it comes to trading the market. So not only the view, I think the really good thing about the Traders Playbook report is the recommendation. Okay, so now what I want to emphasize here is that, for example, I'm going to read the recommendation for Globe. Accumulating Globe at current levels is advisable given the fresh breakout. So that's on a technical perspective. Since there was a breakout, then you can consider to accumulate. You can actually use what we discussed about a while ago, the conditional orders, yung stop limit na riding the momentum. Okay? But since this already broke out, so tapos na yung breakout, you can consider to accumulate. Okay? So you can just send your limit order. But not only do we tell you, no, yung either you accumulate or lighten position, but here we also tell you the cut loss level. Because again, when it comes to trading, part of the trading plan, no, when you enter a trade, even before entering a trade pala, you always look at the two sides of the coin. So if it goes higher, then you can take profit at the next resistance level. Pero if it doesn't always go that way, no? Walang ganun sa trading, no? So it's not always on the positive side. That's why we also need to the potential downside. And if ever it goes to that direction, where do we cut our losses? So yan, it says here, set cut loss below 1,870 and take profit from 2,120 to 2,150. So the good thing about the Traders Playbook research report is there are certain price levels that are actually specified already. So the action and of course yung risk mitigating na mga ano what you set up in place. So where you take profit and where you cut your losses. So with this, you can easily use yung conditional order that we have been mentioning. All right, so ayan. So this is for Traders Playbook. And ito hindi lang siya regular. It's not we don't publish this regularly kasi as you can see from the format, it's usually news driven or technical event driven. So depende siya, no? So hindi siya as regular as the reports that I've discussed. So in this page, you can also see there, no? Here, you really like this. Yeah, because you can see here the analysis and even the trading plan for that stock. So I think this gives you better insight. This gives you better insight. May guidance na kayo. But again, this is just recommendatory. If you have your own trading plan, please do execute it. Kasi of trading plan ninyo, you already backtested that. You found that to be best fit for your type of trader investor that you are. So at least lang you have a report with the mindset of an active trader. And not only it tells you what happened and view, it also sets price levels. And I think we can use this as an example as we move to the next next part. Okay? So there. That's your FirstMetroSec research reports available. Hopefully, by the way, I want to announce lang no yung traders book report namin. I think if I'm mistaken, it has a 71% hit rate so far, no? If I'm not mistaken. Kindly check na lang yung Facebook page na for the latest na update niya. All right, so ayan. So that's your research reports. Now, after that, let's move on to the next. Let's go to the chart tab. So yeah, for the chart tab, this is where you can see yung ano naman, price action. So for example, first thing that you can see here is a static chart. So just quick glance on getting to the price action. But usually na ginagamit talaga dito is the dynamic chart. Okay, so to access the dynamic chart, you can simply click the trading view tab. All right, so see, trading view is actually a third-party chart. So we just use their service as our, we use this in our platform. So I think naman if you've used other din, TradingView is a very well-known platform. And personally, I really like TradingView. So the good thing about this TradingView platform is that you can load simply the stock. Okay, for example, if we want to load, for example, let's just look at PSEI. Let's look at the PSEI first. So you can actually load chart layouts that you have previously loaded. For example, let's look at PSEI. So if you're monitoring PSEI regularly, then you can simply put this here. Okay, so yan, ito yung mga recent na mga support and resistance level ng PSEI. So ayun na, medyo down tayo this week. I think 2.39% if I'm not mistaken. So ayan, yung positive yung better than expected na news ng inflation was not able to sustain the market above the 7,000 level. No, nag-breakout na sana siya 7,000 pero bumalik because of the worries about the new COVID-19 variants. No, so yan, we were down last week. But yun lang, we saw good lang na support. No? We saw bargain hunters around the 6,750 level. So yeah, so that could be a positive sign amid the pag-plunge ng market last week. So for example, next week you can see probably the market can trade sideways between 6,750 to 7,000 level. So yeah, you can trade that range or you can consider this a good opportunity to accumulate good quality stocks that could be potential reopening winners, right? But of course, if you're a more conservative investors, you always think of the potential downside. So siguro you can lighten positions if it falls below 6,750 or 6,600 na support levels. Okay? So for further upside siguro, you need to wait muna above, better break above 7,000, yung sustained above that. Then next resistance level is 7,200. So ayan. So you can actually plot this, no? So yung mga trend lines na yan, we don't have time to discuss this today. We have very limited time. But itong mga ganito, you can just put their horizontal lines. Itong mga diagonal lines, you can easily put in trend lines. Then all of these lines are actually editable. So we can customize them in terms of color, in terms of text, in terms of coordinates, yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah, so you can even load here mga indicators. Right now, you can see here RSI and MACD. So to load your indicators, technical indicators, you can click this plus sign. Sorry, plus sign. Then, for example, you want to put here moving average. So MA. So you can just click moving average and it will be plotted against that chart. Okay, so ayan. So siguro if you'd like to learn more about this, no, I suggest you attend our Guided Investor Fearless Trader na flagship learning series kasi doon po ito dinidiscuss. We just don't have the time to really discuss this right now. Okay, so ayan, if you'd like to delete that, then you can simply click delete, so on and so forth. Ayan, so that's your PSEI. So for example, if you're looking into some stocks rin, so siguro we can load chart layout. Siguro for this example, we can use C-Globe, no? Yung what we've seen sa Traders Playbook kanina. So again, to load the stock, you just simply click, enter here the stock code. For Globe Telecom, that's GLO. So there, so it's loaded there. So I just wanted to show you how you can use the report. So let me pull up the report first. So it says here that accumulate at current levels to buy the breakout. Okay, so but naka-indicate dito are the cut loss levels. So set cut loss below 1870. So for example, you want to plot that there. Again, you can input their horizontal line. You just drop that down. Then you can just simply edit. So for example, 1870. It says here to cut loss at 1870. You can change the style. You can change the color and even the thickness. Then, for example, you show text, red, you say cut loss. Then you put it at the right side. Yeah. So there you go. So now you've indicated the 1870 as indicated in the report. So again, set cut loss below 1870 and take profit from 2120 to 2150. 2120 to 2150. So again, there are even hotkeys for these. For example, Alt H for horizontal. So let me go back to that again. 1870 and sorry, 2120 and 2150. 2120. So you can actually change color. For example, take profit. So we can do that green. Show text, take profit. Also change that color. Take profit. Sorry. Take profit. 120 and 2150. You can even clone this if you'd like. So coordinates is 2150. Yeah, so take profit. So let me double check lang if I use the same. So again, 870 for the cut loss, take profit to 120 and to 150. So there, then you can easily plot what the Traders Playbook research report. Again, those are just recommended levels. If you have better ideas, please follow your own. Again, that's what we teach Guided Investor Fearless Trader is to have your own trading system. So again, tayo, paiba-iba tayo. But again, we can just use this as our guide. All right, so there, that's how you plot your charts. So another part of your chart is your recognia. Okay, so di ba kanina tayo ang nag-plot? some mga support, resistance levels. We saw opportunities of the breakout. We even plotted our RSI and MACD na technical indicators. But for example, if you'd like to check that, we actually have Recognia. So when you click on Recognia, this is our automated chart pattern detection tool. So timing lang din kasi si Globe, it has meron siyang signal from Recognia. So it says here, according to Recognia, our automated chart pattern recognition program, the measured price target after Globe broke out of its triple bottom pattern is at least 2012. Okay, so yeah. So how do we see that? Yeah, this is the purpose right now. So just click on Recognia and enter the stock code. Let's say Globe GLO. So you click that stock code, it would automatically generate those events. So actually, it scans. No, it scans automatically. So here, when you scroll down, you can see here all the technical events. So you can see here 21 bullish technical events and 4 bearish events. Ano yung mga bullish events na yon? Ito po yon. So you can see that here. So those in green are bullish events. Those in red are bearish events. Yan. And yung nakita ng Recognia, the chart pattern as mentioned in Trader's Playbook report is this I believe, let's confirm that it's a triple bottom. Okay, so triple bottom. Actually, double or triple bottom, but I think triple bottom would be more appropriate. There you go. So when you click the triple bottom na signal that were detected, then it plots there. So yeah, that's the triple bottom. So 1, 2, 3, that it identified that. Then you can see here if this is a intermediate, short, or long-term signal. Then you can also see here that price target for that range. For example, ayan, it closed at 1920, so the target price is 1992 to 2012. And that's what you also see here in the report. You see here that is at least 2012. So yeah, you can see here once Globe breaks above the 2000 level, the stock will likely retest the 2100 level. Okay, so I think that was a really good Traders Play report to discuss you about the charts and even Recognia. Now, I understand we don't have that much time, but if you'd like to learn at your own pace, another thing that's really good about FirstMetroSec is you can learn technical analysis right at your platform for free. No? Libre siya. First and foremost, libre na yung mga research reports. That's part of the service already. You even have Recognia to look at technical events. Tapos you can even learn more pa talaga. Kasi again, you can read naman each of this. But if you want a more methodical, a more modular approach to learning, you can simply click here, Learn Technical Analysis. So we have here Education on Demand, which is taught by Martin Pring, which is an internationally renowned guru on technical analysis. So simply click Get Started. Then it will take you to this technical analysis program. Again, these are for free lang, no? Embedded in your platform. So this is really valued talaga in the first place. So it will get to the basic building blocks, level 1 and level 2 of technical analysis. So you can just expand this to see the individual na mga topics. The good thing about this is it's modular. So it takes you lesson per lesson, wherein each of those lessons have a tutorial and a quiz. So, and when you look at the time, no, it only takes around 8, 10, 5, 10, 15 minutes of your time. So you can take this video a day, and siguro in a couple of months, you can finish this course easily. So for example, you want to watch a tutorial on about trend. So just click watch tutorial. Then it will take you to the video of Martin Pring doing this lecture. So just click play. Then yeah, you can learn from Martin Pring on demand. So there you go. So again, yeah, feel free to learn at your own pace using your FirstMetroSec platform. All right. So there you go. That's your chart tab. So very compact. All right. So last tab that we're going to navigate is your news tab. Okay, so of course, news tab, you can see there PSE News and FirstMetroSec Twitter. Okay, so mga disclosures usually niyan from PSE Edge. Okay, so yan. That's your FirstMetroSec Pro navigation. So I think we already have discussed everything. All right, so I think we can squeeze in funds, no? Of course, no. Just want to feature also that you can actually access funds through our platform. So when you click on funds, you can see here yung available na mga funds distributed by First MetroSec. So you can just simply click on the many different types of mutual funds, from equity funds, balance funds, bond funds, and even money market funds, depending on your investor personality or your investor profile. So the good thing about this is you can actually click on each of these mutual funds. For example, let's look at First Metro Save and Learn PH Index Fund, so Salfin. So you can simply click on that if you'd like to learn more about that. This will take you to the fund profile of that fund. So you can see here who is the fund manager. So that's First Metro Asset Management, our sister company. You can also see here the fee information. So how much is the minimum investment? If you'd like to add on, how much is the additional minimum? Then the minimum holding period. So I believe this was already discussed in Mutual Funds 101. This is the number of days that you're encouraged to redeem your shares. Because if you're going to redeem within the 180 days, let me check. There's a early redemption fee. You can see that here. All right. So again, you can redeem naman your shares anytime you'd like. Yeah, those shares are, ano, if you'd like to have an early redemption fee, you can redeem it after this minimum holding period. You can also see here your management fee. In this case, that's 1.75%. You can look at its performance numerically or graphically, year to date, in the last 5 years. You can even see here the top holdings and fund allocations for this fund. Okay, so yeah, you can do your research on your each of those mutual funds available. Then from there, then you can actually check your portfolio of your mutual funds, which is quite similar in what we've seen in the stocks tab. So again, just to summarize, no, you can trade like a pro using First MetroSec Pro. Again, the highlight of Pro talaga is the conditional orders. Then, hindi lang natin nakita kanina because this is only visible pre-open close period, the projected price, but you can see projected prices. Comprehensive stock info, we've explored that already. Customizable displays, diba? We've seen that. Enhanced user interface. Now, we've actually recently implemented changes, so please expect a better experience. Extensive research. We've discussed the research reports and even company news, and even the value, so on and so forth. I've also mentioned in the beginning about the 5 watch lists that you can create and save. Then consensus stock rating and target price. Then consolidated portfolio view, which is a really good feature. And for you to be able to qualify to Pro, these are the criteria. So again, First MetroSec Pro is open to all First MetroSec clients. But you need to trade a cumulative amount of at least 100,000 buying or selling. So total buying and selling in a month, or maintain a mutual fund or stock portfolio of at least 200,000 pesos. Okay, so Pro Access is valid for 1 month and will be automatically renewed while criteria are met. So if you feel like you're eligible for the First MetroSec Pro already, you can simply you can email customer service at firstmetrosec.com.ph to check eligibility and request for your Pro access. So if you'd like, of course, no, you cannot have Pro access if you don't have a First MetroSec account. So this is how you open your First MetroSec account in 3 easy steps. And you can do this all online. You don't have to drop by our office. No more printed documents, no hassle, no personal appearance. So simply go to our website, www.firstmetrosec.com.ph, and click on Open an Account. Just complete the online form with your username, password, and basic account information, and upload the documents online. All right, so three things are needed. First is your government issued ID, preferably your driver's license or PRC ID. Second is your proof of bank account. So any account that can be used as your settlement. And third is your proof of billing. So your proof of billing is any billing address that we can see your address as you in the application process. So whenever they ask you how did you learn about us, please indicate their web navi. So if you need to follow up your application, you can simply email accountopening@firstsec.com.ph. So that's our YouTube channel. Then again, hopefully I was able to impress upon you this afternoon that you only need one account for all your investment needs. Be it you like to trade stocks, invest in mutual funds, or even access using your desktop, laptops, or mobile phone. You can do that with FirstMetroSec. And once you have an account with FirstMetroSec, you can trade stocks, state investment trust, exchange traded, invest in mutual funds, and diversify and retail treasury bonds. Download First MetroSec Go. Very convenient siya. And of course, trendy. Multiple funding options also available. All those convenience within your reach through Finance Asia's Philippines Best Broker for 2017, 2018, and 2020. Here in First MetroSec, hashtag your future first. So if you have further question, you can also visit your help center. That's firstmetrosec.com.ph. Then you can also join our growing First MetroSec community. Just go to Facebook and search for the official First MetroSec community. Join our Viber group. Scan this QR code because this group will update you about the daily stock market. All right, so feel free to connect with us. These are our again, our platforms, that's classic website is www.firstmetrosec.com.ph. Our new platform is new.firstmetrosec.com.ph, pro.firstmetrosec.com.ph. And our social media channels, just search for the handle @firstmetrosec. If you have concerns regarding your account, just email customer service @firstmetrosec.com.ph. Regarding your account opening process, just email accountopening@firstmetrosec.com.ph. And for your market education needs, seminars, webinars, just email marketeducation@firstmetrosec.com.ph. All right, so again, if you have questions, this is the time to actually put them in already. Ayan, no? So here's a question. I have the new First MetroSec account. How can I have access to the Pro? So again, I mentioned you a while ago the criteria. So either you trade 100,000 worth in a month or meron kayong 200K na portfolio ng stocks and or mutual funds. So if you feel like you've met those criteria already, please email customer service at firstmetrosec.com.ph to check eligibility and to give you access. All right, so next question. Ayan, sabi niya, he loves the full screen mode. Actually, first, you can actually put that in full screen. Okay. So para at least hindi distorbo. Focus trading yan portfolio. Okay. So may comments dito, no? Okay, so I will note of this comment, sir, no, yung mga changes that you like. So favorite feature niya daw is yung market pressure. Ayan, so sabi din yan, tell them about the click and autofill sa quick trade. I've shown you na that's a really cool feature. Literal, no? Quick trade talaga siya. You just need to ask or bid volume, it automatically autofills your quick trade. Ayan, so how do we place orders in the odd lot? So sir, during ano po, you do that during market hours. So it's just the same, no? Same as your normal order. But yung prices lang ninyo ang magkakaiba. So magkakaiba po yung prices kasi sa odd lot kasi nga butal siya. Yeah, they also like the VWAP daw. Yeah. If you've been trading the market for quite some time already, that VWAP is really helpful. Okay, that really gives you an edge. Yan, how to add or remove on the watch list. So again, sir, I've shown you a while ago that you can just click on the edit doon sa watch list. Then you can click the plus or minus sign to add or delete. Here's another question. Dividend yield is with respect to what acquisition price? The dividend yield you see in the reports po is relative to the last traded price. Okay? So, yung naka-indicate na last price doon or if nasa pro kayo, those yields is on the last traded price. Real time po yun. Pag for example, trading yung market, you can just click on refresh so that you can see those percentages to real time. PE ratio and price to book are based on last price? Yes po. It's based on the last traded price and the, usually for example, PE ratio, that's your trailing 12 months na EPS. Price to book ratio naman is your book value per share. Yes. Based siya on the last price and yung EPS or book value per share. So here's another question. Ayan, so for the consensus, sir, I think we can check that. So I would just want to show you the consensus. So ang question kasi niya is, who consolidates the consensus rating? Who are included in the consensus? Is there a list of brokers? Target price is for what term? Short, medium, long? So the question is about the consensus corner report. So let's go to research. Then let's go to FirstMetroSec. Then the consensus corner. All right, so as you can see here, I think you can see this right there. So sa consensus corner, there's actually a note here. So you can see here the source of data is Thomson Reuters Acon. So we have access to Thomson Reuters Acon and we provide this for you. Okay, so the source here, sir, is Thomson Reuters Acon. So yung sir, medyo similar to Bloomberg. Okay, so parang competitor kasi sila. Okay, so doon po galing ito. Okay, so let's move on. Next question, let's look na. Ayan, there's a question here. What is the iceberg button? So, yung iceberg button, ano lang po siya, parang if you have a big order and you want to reveal it yung paunti-unti, then you can use the iceberg button lang. Okay? So, ayan. So, for example, if you want to trade 1,000 shares, pero gusto mo lang is pa 100 100. Okay? So, up until maubos yung 1,000. So, yan po yung purpose ng iceberg. Usually po niyan, mga for big orders lang po yan. Okay, yung use niya. Kasi usually naman pag yung hindi naman masyado malaki yung tinatin, then ano lang siya. Kahit yung mga existing na mga levels doon, can be filled siya. Can be filled. Ayan. So, may question dito about the limit if touch. Yes, no, but I've seen kanina when we did the trade tab, parang hindi mo na nilalagay. But we have a limit if touch na conditional order type. Okay, so I think we'll be creating a webinar exclusive for that soon. So please watch out for it for the full explanation of that. Okay. Ayan, for example, gray color on the stocks like RRHI, what does it mean? So, ang ibig po sabihin, pag gray color yung stock, unchanged po siya. Okay, unchanged. Kung green po siya, higher, it traded higher. If red po, it traded lower. Ayan, in conditional orders, can trigger price and limit price be equal? Prefer po magkaiba siya. Kasi if yung price mo and limit price are equal, as well just send a limit order. Okay, kung parehas lang naman siya. So baka you don't need that limit, you don't need that trigger price. So kahit one flock low or a couple of flocks higher or lower, depende sa setup mo. So better po to Pwede naman po yun kasi 'di ba again yung conditional order, hinihintay mo yung trigger price for your limit order to be sent. Pero again, yung limit order mo is at that price or better. Okay? At that price or better. So, pwede po na yung trigger price niyo is here. Yung limit price niyo is here. Pwede naman kayo mag-done at better levels kung may available volume. Okay? Ganun. If I have an existing sell order, will my conditional order still be sent? So, ayun lang sir. Kasi for example, pag nagte-trade tayo sa PSE, dapat siya. So, kung may existing siya na sell order, naka-attach na po yung number of shares na ibibenta nyo for that, hindi niya na po yun siya ma-access ng ibang order pa. So, better to have separate talaga. So, yeah. Ayan, here's another question, no? So, slide on limit losses. Why is expiry GTM but limit price is day? Yeah, so again, as I mentioned kanina po, the expiry of your conditional order is for the trigger price to be reached. So for example, trigger price mo is 90. So tapos expiry mo is GTM. So 30 calendar days na hihintayin na iti-trigger yung price na yon. Iti-trigger yung level na yon. Okay? Pero once your conditional order has been triggered, so your limit order has already been sent to the exchange, the expiry of that limit order is only for that day. Automatic po siya. Day lang po talaga yung limit order. Yan, my question dito, once it reaches limit, is it the sell automatic? So again, sir, yung conditional order mo, wait for that trigger price to be reached before it will send the limit order. Yung limit order mo could be a buy or sell order. Okay, so if there are available shares to be bought or sold at your price or better, then your order will be done. Okay, here's another question. The trigger price and limit price, are these range? So hindi po siya range, sir. Specific price levels po talaga siya. So say the trigger price is met. Okay, will it wait for the limit price to be fulfilled before buy or sell is confirmed? Or it will already start buy or sell from trigger price up to limit price. So again, I'll mention this again. Yung conditional order, hihintayin niya po yung trigger price to be met. Pag na-meet po niya yon, if the price would be hit sa trigger price, your limit order will be sent. Yung limit order mo could be a buy or sell. So, for example, if you want to buy or sell at that price or better. So, ganun always. Now, when it comes to limit order, it's always at that price or better. Okay, so tingnan niyo na lang po kung buying side kayo or selling side. Please explain the consensus target horizontal bar, low, average, high, and the status. Wait lang po. Low, average, high. Okay. So, again po ma'am, yung consensus na target for each of the stock, you can see there, ano yung low, high, and average estimate. So, yung nasa low estimate, ibig sabihin, yun po yung lowest na target price na published by an analyst for that stock. Yung highest naman, that's the highest estimate for that stock. Likely another po yun na broker or analyst. Ang ginagawa lang po dun sa consensus target is that it finds the average of the high and low. Then you can see there your consensus. Alright, so may nagtatanong po about limit if touch na order. So please wait na lang po. We will be conducting a webinar for lit orders po. So for now, I only focus on the stop limit order. Okay, so wait na lang po natin yung webinar, no? So for better yung what we really prepared para for better understanding. Okay, here's another question. Question on reports. Per stock, will I be able to see all FMSEC report that include a specific stock? Yes po. So for example, sir, you can just go to, you can simply go to research tab, then click on company, then enter the company that you'd like to study on. Then when you scroll down, meron po mga research reports na published by FirstMetroSec on that stock. Ayan, so here's another question. Before sa classic platform, meron sa home screen na portion showing stocks that have technical events. Sa Pro, meron din po ba? I think you're looking at yung nasa gitna po na banda. So I don't think meron po sa Pro. Pero ayun ma'am, pwede naman po kayo we have a report actually, no? We have a report called technical events. So you can see it in all reports, and doon I think daily ata yun if I'm not mistaken, or weekly. Wherein it really summarizes all the technical events for that stock. Or for easier reference talaga, you can just use Recognia. Okay, kasi si Recognia din naman kasi nagde-detect nung yung technical events report that we publish. So I think best to use Recognia. Ayan, so here's another question. Which buttons for the projected prices? So you will see that po dun sa stock info. Doon po sa bid and ask, during pre-open or pre-close, you can see their it will just appear, no? Doon sa projected prices. So, available lang po siya during that time. Kaya hindi natin siya nakita kanina. So, if you like to see the projected prices, you can see that there. Okay, so yan, no? May mga compliments din dito. Thank you, no? So, a pleasant experience listening to you. So, hopefully naman I was able to provide knowledge naman. And hopefully I was able to navigate you through the FirstMetroSec platform para better na yung ninyo. Mas comfortable na kayo to use it. So here's another question. Do I need to request for pro access once the investment is already within range? Yes po. You need to email our customer service to check eligibility. And if proven na eligible kayo, then we can give you pro access. But yun nga lang po, yung activation namin ng pro access is only during, I think, Wednesdays ata, if I'm not mistaken. So, once a week lang po siya. So, likely sir, kung mag-request kayo ngayon, it will be processed on Wednesday na. So, baka later next week nyo pa siya magagamit. So, ganito na lang po yung mga questions ninyo. If you have yung mga questions, first na pwede natin puntahan is yung help center namin. So, that's help.firstmetrosec.com.ph. If hindi nyo pa mahanap yung sagot ninyo doon, please feel free to email our customer service at firstmetrosec.com.ph para they can answer you in more detail. Follow us on social media and yeah, thank you.